Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary.
As anti-ICE protests spread to other cities, a dramatic court battle unfolds in Los Angeles.
A legal showdown in federal court as a judge must decide who has the final say to deploy federal troops into Los Angeles. Is it Governor Gavin Newsom or President Donald Trump?
Today, President Trump blocked California's plan to phase out the sale of gas-powered cars. Hear from congressmen on both sides of the issue.
Not everybody is seeing their wildfire homeowners insurance rates go up. Some homeowners are seeing dramatic decreases.
A bold new vision for this blighted strip mall in University City. I'll show you what's planned for the Costa Verde Shopping Center.
A Poway mom selected as one of 12 umpires in the world for a big Williamsport baseball tournament.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts right now.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Carlsbad. Evacuation orders and warnings have just been lifted for a brush fire burning near Corte Claro and Paseo Encino. It's a sign that crews are making progress against the fire, fighting on the ground and from the air.
CBS 8's Esmeralda Perez is live from Carlsbad with the very latest for us. Esmeralda.
Well, Carlo Marcella, it's a very different scene than what I saw earlier when we got here around 4 o'clock. Now, crews have made significant progress. I'm going to go ahead and show you just right over there. That's the hot spot where this blaze was earlier. Now, when we got here, we were able to see just this huge plume of smoke. We saw some flames, and as you can see, there's a multi-agency response. There's some fire crews right up that hill over there, also right here down below on this street. Now, it was especially concerning because just the close proximity with the homes that are in this neighborhood. But the good news is that now I'm going to go ahead and send things back to you.
We're going to keep covering this fire. We're having some technical problems out there. We're going to try to return out there to Esmeralda, possibly later in the show. The good news is that fire, the forward spread has been slowed. You saw no big smoke or flames anymore. It looks like they're starting to make a lot of headway. No control numbers yet, but we know that they're making great progress. You can stay connected on our social media and streaming channel, CBS 8+. Just download on your TV and watch for free.
Now to our other top story, new developments tonight out of Los Angeles as immigration unrest continues. Hundreds of Marines are set to deploy within 48 hours, escalating the federal response as protests against the president's immigration policies intensify.
They'll join thousands of National Guard troops already on the ground in Los Angeles under orders from the Trump administration. Federal officials report hundreds of undocumented migrants have been arrested since Friday, a third with criminal records. While today's protests were mostly peaceful, a curfew will remain in place starting at 8 tonight. The curfew covers a 1 square mile area in downtown LA, affecting nearly 100,000 people. Los Angeles officials warned today more troops are not needed and could spark real chaos.
Trail is that all of our cities are in chaos, rioting is happening everywhere, and it is a lie.
Now, cities across the U.S., including San Diego, are preparing for mass protests this Saturday, the same day President Trump celebrates the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary with a military parade in D.C. The day also marks President Trump's 79th birthday.
As demonstrations against the president's immigration policies continue to spread across the country, there was a showdown in federal court today about the use of federal troops in Los Angeles.
CBS 8's Kelly Hessedal has the latest on this high-stakes hearing and what it means for protests and immigration raids moving forward.
That's right, a lot happening across California. First, let's talk about that federal court hearing up in San Francisco. Now, cameras were not allowed inside the courtroom. The judge in this case, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer, brother of former Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, must determine if President Trump lawfully deployed thousands of California National Guard members to protect federal buildings and agents in the Los Angeles area. The Department of Justice argued today it's necessary. Attorneys for the governor argued that there's evidence evidence indicating the president will order the military to assist with immigration enforcement, which violates federal law. So the hearing went on for around 90 minutes. The judge's decision will have an impact across the country, including here at home. Now, meanwhile, I also want to talk about what happened in Los Angeles. Just a stunning scene today. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was at the FBI building for a news conference when Democratic Senator Alex Padilla of California interrupted it and was forcibly removed by security.
Sir, hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
And you see Senator Padilla was pushed out of the room. He was ordered to his knees and then physically pushed to the ground by officers and handcuffed. Now, this all began to unfold in front of a room filled with media. I imagine everyone was pretty shocked. And then to see a U.S. senator on the floor being restrained like this. Now, after this was all over, both Senator Padilla and Secretary Noem talked to reporters.
I wish that he would have reached out and identified himself and let us know who he was and that he wanted to talk. His approach, was something that I don't think was appropriate at all.
If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country.
And Senator Padilla made it clear that what happened today happened after months of he and his colleagues in the Senate asking Homeland Security for information about these ramped up immigration enforcement efforts. He says they have not gotten a response. We are told that authorities do not plan to charge Padilla with anything. Now, he did sit down with Secretary Noem after this was all over for about 15 minutes, and she said the meeting was productive. Kelly Hessedal, CBS 8.
And some very breaking news. Just during that story, we've learned that Judge Breyer has ordered the Trump administration to return control of the National Guard to the state of California. This is a preliminary injunction. We'll see what happens next. We'll have more information on this as it develops, but this is very breaking news. Again, the Trump administration being ordered to return control of the National Guard to the state of California in this standoff over immigration raids in the state of California. Tonight, President Trump is taking aim at California's ban on sales of new gasoline-powered vehicles. On top of everything else, the president signed joint resolutions today to stop the ban, which was set to start in 2035.
The move strikes a major blow to the state's climate goals. CBS 8's Alex Cheney spoke to congressmen in favor and opposed today and brings us what he learned. Alex?
Marcella and Carlo, that's right. The decision this morning immediately drew criticism from state leaders. However, others saying it's a good thing because they want people to be able to choose their own car without it being required and mandated by the state.
By terminating the California electric vehicle mandate once and for all.
President Trump signed a measure this morning to block California's phasing out of the sale of gas-powered cars. A landmark 2020 decision sought to require all car sales in the state to be only electric vehicles by 2035. California was the first state to do this, with 17 other states following with the same requirement.
We're taking a dramatic step backwards for what? So that Donald Trump can help his fossil fuel buddies.
Congressman Mike Levin says the bigger issue is whether California has the right to set its own regulations on clean air. In 1970, President Nixon passed the Federal Clean Air Act. California was given a waiver to be even stricter because of the severity of air quality issues in the state. A waiver that every president since has upheld.
This is not about what Donald Trump wants it to be about. He's saying it's just about electric vehicles. It is not. It's about California's ability to set its own air emissions standards.
It would have decimated our supply chain.
In favor of the resolutions is Congressman Vince Fong, who was with President Trump when he signed them into law today. He says California's infrastructure isn't ready to go all electric yet, and people should be given the option of what car they want to buy. He voted for the resolutions in May.
To somehow say that now every single part of California has to be electric when the grid can't sustain it and when it would completely destroy and disrupt our supply chain, that is not responsible public policy.
And the CEO of a San Diego-based EV charging company, Beam Global, said government should follow consumer demand on electric vehicles.
So I think the mighty U.S. consumer will end up leading this charge. And if California continues with its plans to have nothing but electric vehicles in 2035, that won't be government telling them, the consumer to do that. That will be the consumer making that decision for themselves, I believe.
And also the reaction from Sacramento was swift today as California Governor Gavin Newsom and State Attorney General Rob Bonta announced that they are filing a lawsuit against President Trump for moving against California's clean air initiatives. Reporting live, I'm Alex Cheney, CBS 8.
Back to that breaking news. Esmeralda Perez is live in Carlsbad with the latest on the brush fire burning in a canyon.
Esmeralda, what can you tell us?
Well, that's right, Carlo, Marcella. Now, it's a very different scene than what we saw earlier today and what neighbors here saw. Now, we're going to go ahead and show you what we're looking at. So at the very top of that mountain right there, you can see there's some machinery, some construction machinery there. And right below it, there's some fire crews. Now, crews have made significant progress here. Now, this has been a multi-agency response. Now, the city of Carlsbad took to social media to let the community know that all evacuation orders and warnings have been lifted for all areas and residents can return to their homes. And we also know that all road closures that were put in place have now been lifted. At the latest update we received, we know the fire is about 45 acres. We spoke with CAL FIRE Captain Robert Johnson, who told us what the biggest hurdle in containing this blaze has been.
Yeah, this fire, as you can see, is located in an area that does have steep, rocky slopes. That does bring challenges to firefighters, but firefighters are not unfamiliar with this type of terrain. They do train for situations like this. So although the terrain is steep and rocky, firefighters are able to still access this fire.
And this was especially concerning, just the close proximity that it was to homes in this neighborhood. Now, Johnson also told us that crews will be in the area mopping up for any hot spots. So crews will be here for many hours to make sure that everyone stays safe. For now, back to you.
Thanks, Esmeralda. Coming up, City of San Diego budget cuts hit the Humane Society. The possible impacts on services it provides and the animals it cares for. Coming up.
Also, more California homes are now considered to be in dangerous fire zones. So why are some homeowners seeing a reduction in fire insurance rates? Some answers coming up.
And financial help recovering from natural disasters, the money some San Diegans could be eligible for and how to get it.
We saw morning cloud cover, afternoon sunshine, but those clouds were hugging right there along that coastline by this afternoon. And we are looking at a little bit less of that cloud coverage in the afternoon hours over the weekend with a warm up. Current temperature of 64 degrees for downtown. Your complete forecast, it's ahead.